Oral questions. Questions orales. Chef de l'opposition.
The Leader of the Opposition. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. For 9 years, this Bloc-backed Liberal government has managed to triple the cost of housing in Montreal. There's been the latest report by Point 2 Homes. They say it takes 14 years for a young Montrealer to save up enough to buy a house with a small down payment. When will the government trigger an election so that Canadians can elect a government which will build housing, cut red tape, and allow home building? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, thank you. What the Conservative leader does not seem to understand is that slogans don't build homes. Slogans don't meet Canadians' needs. What does help is hard work, real solutions. Working with municipalities instead of insulting the Mayor of Montreal. Working with municipalities, with provinces, with not-for-profits. We need to work with all of these partners to build housing units and to meet these challenges. We're here to do some serious work. He's here to shout slogans. He doesn't have a single solution to offer us. And Canadians deserve better, Mr. Speaker. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition. Solutions. I had solutions when I was Minister of Housing. When I was Minister, we built 200,000 units in Montreal when rent was a third of what it is today. This Bloc-backed Liberal government's inflationary spending has not helped. They've broken the immigration system. They have ballooned big bureaucracy which block building and construction. With all of that, the Prime Minister has succeeded in tripling housing costs, rent costs in Montreal. Can he trigger an election so that Canadians can elect a government that will cut red tape and build homes and cut taxes too? The Right Honourable Prime Minister. Mr. Speaker, the Leader of the Opposition does not want to cut taxes because, in fact, he voted against our bill to cut GST for purpose-built rentals for lower-priced units. We're here to build housing units. If any housing was built during his time as a housing minister, it was despite his efforts, or lack thereof, because he built a grand total of 6 affordable units when he was housing minister under Mr. Harper. We're here to deliver affordable housing, to deliver a good life for Canadians, and to build a better future for all. The Honourable Leader of the Opposition. Well, the taxes for capital gains were increased. That's bloc-backed. If you consider removing the GST for home building, that was eaten up by municipalities increasing taxes with the support of this government.
Services, because the Prime Minister's carbon tax is forcing new and unjustifiable costs on New Brunswick schools and hospitals that Canadians cannot afford. Will the Prime Minister call a carbon tax election so we can save our schools and hospitals on this tax?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the Leader of the Opposition started by talking about his opposition to new taxes on capital gains because, once again, the Conservatives are here to defend the ultra-wealthy and cut services for everyone else.
Talked again about his opposition to our bringing in an increase on capital gains, because we know that asking the wealthy to do a little more so we can deliver more homes for young Canadians to build that future is what we need to do. But the Conservatives continue to be there with cuts for taxes for the wealthiest, cuts of services for everyone else.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
The Prime Minister is hiking taxes on home builders, on doctors, on job creators, and on farmers. And he's also raising taxes on hospitals and schools. The New Brunswick Premier is taking this Prime Minister to court because of the unconstitutional quadrupling carbon tax and the costs it will impose on snowplows, ambulances, heating hospitals and schools, meaning the loss of countless police officers, nurses, doctors, and teachers. Instead of defeating the carbon tax in court, why can't we have a carbon tax election so Canadians can axe the tax?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, for the past number of years, multiple Conservative premiers have gone after the price on pollution in courts, and they lost at the Supreme Court. The Canadians have decided that price on pollution is the right thing. We've won multiple elections on that because Canadians know that the only way to build a strong economy is to fight climate change at the same time. The Leader of the Opposition doesn't get that, doesn't accept that, doesn't understand that abandoning the fight against climate change would hurt Canadians, would hurt our institutions, would hurt people and economic growth right across the country.
The Honourable Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, and he concealed from both the courts and from Canadians his plan to quadruple the carbon tax to 61 cents a litre. Now, Premier Scott Moe of Saskatchewan says that this will hit schools with $204 million in carbon taxes and hospitals with $175 million in carbon taxes, meaning we will lose doctors, teachers, and other necessary workers serving Canadians. Instead of forcing premiers to fight to axe the tax in court, why can't we have a carbon tax election so Canadians can axe the tax?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the Conservative leader is proposing that we abandon all the fight against climate change. He wants to take away the Canada carbon rebate that puts more money in the pockets of 8 out of 10 Canadians, the middle class and people working hard to join it, even as we both fight climate change, reduce emissions in this country, and create growth and opportunities in cleaner jobs and cleaner careers. These are the issues that Canadians are preoccupied with. How are they going to be able to afford jobs into the future when this leader wants to take away the fight against climate change?